Hi all, how are you all doing today? Right? Yes. To introduce myself, I am Rohini Jayanti. I am a storyteller. I am a yoga instructor, a singer sometimes, and of course, a budding and an aspiring writer too. But prior to all these things, storytelling that gives me extreme happiness because storytelling is something, sharing. It involves sharing. We share our thoughts, we share our emotions, we share our feelings with everybody out there. And when it comes to sharing of those little things with the little kids, wow, that's really awesome. It gives me extreme happiness. And I was a preschool teacher, and I used to narrate stories, tell stories to children at school. And even after that, after I quit my job too, I've continued doing it. So I have my own channel, Stories and Rhymes Corner. On Facebook also I have my own page, Story and Rhymes Corner. And so this is for you, Meera, as you asked me to set a story across for this International Storytelling Day. I'm sending you. And by seeing my dress and all, can anybody guess what story I'm going to tell you today? It's not exactly the same. I could find only this one in my wardrobe, so I've put on this. It's the story of Little Red Riding Hood. Okay, shall I start? Are you all ready? Come on, buckle up your seats and stay tuned. Long time ago, there lived a little girl with her mother at the edge of a forest in a small cottage. And her grandmother used to live on the other side of the forest. And this little girl loved her grandmother so much, and in fact, her grandmother too. And her grandmother used to stitch little beautiful clothes for her little granddaughter, and for one Christmas, she stitched a beautiful red color cape and a hood and gifted her. And the little granddaughter loved it so much, and so she kept on wearing it all the time. And so people used to call her Little Red Riding Hood. One day it so happened that Little Red Riding Hood's grandmother fell sick. And so her mother called Little Red Riding Hood and told her, "My dear Red Riding Hood, your grandmother is not well. Why don't you carry some cakes, biscuits, cookies, and some fresh fruits for her? She'll feel happy if you go and visit her once." And Little Red Riding Hood said, "Yes, Mama, of course. I would love to go and see grandmother. Make it fast and give them, pack and give them, and I'll go." And so her mother packed everything and put it in a basket and gave to Red Riding Hood and warned her that do not talk to any strangers on the path. Agreeing to her mother, Riding Hood happily walked la 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 in the forest, looking at the beautiful green trees and the gardens and the beautiful flowers. She was walking happily on a sunny day. And now what happened? There was a wolf in the forest. The wolf saw Red Riding Hood from behind a tree. "Oh, who's that? A little girl. Why don't I have an awesome lunch today?" Thinking this to himself, the wolf followed. And as Red Riding Hood was passing by a tree, the wolf came and stood in front of her. "Hello, little girl. Who are you? What's your name? And where are you going?" Little Red Riding Hood got frightened. "Oh my God, I'm Little Red Riding Hood. I'm going to see my grandmother. She's not well." "Oh, is it? That's fine. Where does your grandmother stay, by the way?" asked the wolf. "She stays on the other edge of the forest by the nut trees in a small cottage. I'm going to give her this cake and fresh fruits as she's not feeling well." Then the wolf thought to himself, "Oh, it would be better that if I have this little one and the old one too. Let me think of a plan." But I don't have enough time to go to that cottage. The wolf thought of a plan. Oh, Red Riding Hood, as you said that your grandmother is not feeling well, why don't you carry some fresh flowers for her too? She may cheer up seeing those beautiful, colorful flowers. Though her mother warned her not to talk to strangers, little Red Riding Hood thought that the wolf was a lovely and caring person. And so she trusted him. Oh, that's so nice of you. I'll do that. Saying this, little Red Riding Hood started plucking flowers from all the trees. Oh, a beautiful red one, a blue one, a purple one, and this red one my grandmother loves a lot. Saying this, she started plucking flowers and collecting them. In the meantime, the wolf ran and ran and ran and ran, and he rushed to the cottage of the old woman. And he knocked at the door. Tock, tock, tock. Who is it? Asked the grandmother. It's me, Grandma. Written Red Riding Hood, said the wolf. Oh, my dear granddaughter, you have come. The door is open. You may come in, said grandmother, in a low voice resting on the bed. The wolf opened the door and went inside. Grandmother got scared. Oh my God, who is this? And she ran out of the door and ran and ran and ran and shut herself in a shed behind the cottage. The wolf searched for the old lady here and there, but he could not find her. So he thought of a plan again. He immediately entered the cottage and put on the dress of the grandmother and covered himself under the bed sheets. And was waiting for whom, children? Red Riding Hood. And now, after some time, Red Riding Hood carried those flowers, cakes and fruits and came to the cottage. Tuck, tuck, tuck. Grandmother, it's little Red Riding Hood, she said in a sweet little voice. Oh, come in, my dear granddaughter, said the wolf in a gruffing voice. Red Riding Hood opened the door and went inside and sat beside the bed. Oh, grandmother, what happened to your ears? They are so big, asked Red Riding Hood, looking at her in a surprise. Oh, my ears are big so that I can hear you better, my dear granddaughter, said the wolf. Oh, your eyes too are so big, grandmother. What happened to them? Oh, they are so big so that I can see you well, said the wolf in the grumbling voice. And as Red Riding Hood went close to her grandmother, that is the wolf, she saw her mouth watering and the teeth gleaming. What happened to your mouth? It's so big and the teeth are so sharp, she asked in a terrifying voice. Suddenly the wolf got up from the bed. Ha 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 ha. It's me, poor little thing, he said, and he was about to swallow little Red Riding Hood. And Red Riding Hood got scared and she ran again out of the cottage and ran in the forest, shouting and screaming for help. And there was a woodcutter who was chopping some trees. He heard the cries of Red Riding Hood and he came there running with his axe. And he saw the wolf chasing Red Riding Hood. And so he killed the wolf with his sharp axe. Thud! The wolf fell dead on the grass. And Red Riding Hood thanked the person and said in a crying voice, my grandmother is missing. She's not there in a cottage. Please don't you help me in looking for her? So the woodcutter and Red Riding Hood went and searched here and there, and they heard a low weeping voice from behind the cottage in the shed. And so Red Riding Hood went and knocked. Grandmother, it's me. I'm back. Please open the door. Grandmother first thought it was the wolf, but still she slowly peeped and saw it was Red Riding Hood. And so she opened the door and she came out and hugged her granddaughter. She thanked the woodcutter for helping them and she served them with hot cakes and fresh fruits, and they stayed together for some time and grandmother and Red Riding Hood happily played, and they were never again scared of the wolf in the forest. Ah, that is the story of Little Red Riding Hood. Did you all like it, children? Shall I see you next time with another wonderful story? And thank you so much, Meera, for this opportunity. Love you. See you again with a wonderful story. Bye bye.